It's an appropriate way to start this video. Hey, it's me. Congratulations. For nothing. It's a compilation week this week. I've done a compilation in the past and you guys actually enjoyed it, and also I am sick. If you saw my video last week, I was sick while filming that video, but I actually ended up getting much sicker than that. Way sicker. Way sicker. Because I've been very sick lately, I have been working a lot slower. I am feeling a lot better now. I just have not gotten enough done to have a full out video for you this week. So today I will be revisiting my top 5 thrift store makeovers. Thrift Store Makeovers is one of my favorite series ever, and I've created some of my most
specialists of things
in this series. It was really hard to choose. I hope that you guys enjoy watching. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next week for a new video. So here is my lovely donut stack. Welcome to counting class. We have 1, 2, 3 donuts. Wow. And this is honestly just so cute, but it is a piggy bank. Is it still called a piggy bank if it's not a piggy? It's a coin bank, which, oh darn, I just stopped using one of these like 20 years ago. So I'm gonna change that. Change the coin. Okay, I opened up the hole and looked inside, which you should never do, okay? Learn from me. I see there's some stuff in there that's not gonna come out. Just plug it back up and pretend like I didn't see that. I did pay $12 for this, which I feel like is a little bit pricey, but okay, thrift store. It's kind of hard to see, but there are a fair amount of cracks all over this, and the paint job is also just a little bit sloppy. Hopefully I can improve on that. Rolling into my workspace. First of all, please leave, I don't want you. I'm gonna start this process with my air dry clay. A nice fresh block of it. Cutting into that, here we go. Every time I open a new package of clay, I make some comment about it looking like cream cheese. Handful of cream cheese. Hey, it looks like cream cheese! Grabbing a nice hunk and giving it a good old massage. This is what deep tissue looks like right here. Now,
donuts.
You can come back. I'm adding this large hunk on top of the donuts, smoothing it out with some water.
Nice and juicy.
Here comes my sketch for this design. Look. Wait, no, don't look. Well, maybe just a peek. Not too much. I don't want to spoil it. Back to big blob. I'm putting quite a large amount of clay on here, which is concerning to me. I'm very worried about how well this is going to stick to the ceramic, but I don't really have an idea of how to force them to stick together, so I'm just going to shove the clay on there and pray for the best. I'm adding some arms to the blob because this is going to be a
new character.
New character alert. New character alert. That's not a thing. It was annoying. This little being is going to look like he's sitting inside of the donuts, just holding himself up. Oh, it's gonna be cute. Now that I got his head or his body, is it a head or body? It's kind of one and the same here. I'm coating him with a nice layer of sweat so I can add things to him. First, I'm creating a little half circle. It looks kind of like a macaroni, and I'm gonna add this to the top of his head to serve as his ear. Smooth it out real nice. Time for the other ear, which you will notice is quite differently shaped. That's because this is his natural ear shape. Both of his ears once looked like this. That is before he took up residence in this stack of donuts. And now, not only does he live inside of a stack of donuts, he is becoming one. I'm gonna create some horns for him. My intention at this point was to make a sort of donut monster. Also, I'm kind of making it up as I go, so that may or may not change. I added some bulging eyes and some fur details, and here he is, ready for a long 24-ish hours of dry time.
Go to sleep, baby. I'll see you soon.
Aha! Here he is, ready for gesso. I'm gonna apply a nice layer of that on this entire piece. From this angle, you get a nice look at his donut eye, which you actually didn't see me sculpt because I forgot to do that thing where I press the record button on my camera. I've only made like 400 videos at this point, so it's totally reasonable for me to make that kind of beginner mistake, okay? Yes, he's got one normal eye and one taken over by donuts. I'm adding the gesso to the entire bank portion as well. Multiple layers of that to really get a clean base to paint on. At this point, I'm just amazed and astonished that the clay has actually stuck onto the ceramic so well. What a pleasant surprise. But also, I'm kind of waiting for it to fall off any second, and it's stressing me out. Now, let me tell you, this project is definitely reminding me of our dear Jerry the Cherry. He was also a sculpted character on top of a dessert bank. Why does that matter? I don't know. I'm just making a statement. Leave me alone. Finally, it's fun time. Time to get painty. I'm starting with a nice appetizing cake color over each of the donuts and on the character himself, and that's going to require a couple of layers to build up that color nicely. Now we get to decorate the donuts with colors.
Ooh, rainbow colors.
The top donut, I'm going with a nice pink for the frosting, which may be the most appetizing looking frosting color out there. I know. That's a big statement. The donut frosting color critics are out there. They're gonna come for me, but I'm gonna stand by it. A nice plump donut with pink frosting. Oh, that just looks so good. Someone get me a donut, please. Uh-oh, she's awake, baby. Okay, excuse me. Am I recording this voiceover while I'm holding my newborn? Yes, she is awake, but she's just chilling, so excuse any little chirping noises. These donuts are the kind that have the little fillings in them. At first, I was kind of disappointed by that because I think I like donuts better without a filling. However, the fillings do present me with a golden opportunity, more like a rainbow opportunity. I can include the entire rainbow of colors going down the donut stack. So the next donut is going to have yellow frosting followed by green filling. It will continue through to the end of the rainbow, but I do have to do this a little bit out of order here because there's this drizzle. Oh, this freaking drizzle. I had the brilliant idea to paint the drizzle rainbow. Why? Because I hate myself. Not really. Okay, I thought a rainbow drizzle would look cute and it wouldn't be that difficult, but I did not expect it to take as much time as it did. But of course, once I've started it, I have to press on. I'm not a quitter, sometimes to a fault, because bro, you should have just quit. Just paint it pink, honestly. But no, I kept going with this freaking drizzle, alternating with that and touching up the other areas of the donut stack. The original indents where the fillings are supposed to be on the donuts, they're actually really crooked. I did try to straighten it up a little bit with my paint job. Oh, and here's where the drizzle gets really fun. Sarcasm. I painted around the drizzle to do the frosting and the donut itself. I tried to be very careful with this process and keep everything neat, but of course I completely butchered it. Not even close. So I have to go over the drizzle again with every subtle little blend between colors. Oh, this was so long. I hope you guys actually like the look of the rainbow drizzle, because then it may be worth it. Me, I like it, I do, but my vision is a little bit clouded with trauma. I look at this drizzle and I mainly just see the pain that I was feeling while creating it. That's just a little bit dramatic. After hours of touch-ups on that, I'm finally able to move on to the character design, starting with some purple frosting on the donut ear.
That's so cute.
And then some blue frosting on the donut eye, and adding in the normal part of his face very sloppily. Now that I'm looking at it, that blue donut is just too blue. So I started changing it back to green, but then it was looking too green. So I opted to do half and half, which I kind of like. Now, as I'm painting this donut monster, I'm noticing that he really reminds me of someone. No, this is not about Jerry again, okay? Leave him and his butt crack out of this. I mean, I can feel a deep connection between him and another one of my characters. Who are you? I know you. Then it hit me. Oh, Tom. This donut monster is clearly Tom. The cockeyed face, the shape of the ears, the horns. There's no denying it. Tom, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't recognize you. How did you get here? So this is when I realized that the whole time I thought I was sculpting a donut monster. In reality, I was sculpting an alternate version of Tom, the alien bean body. I know I just designed a new alien bean body.
Lotsy, hi.
It is getting to be a lot. I get it. But in all fairness, I did not mean to do this, okay? It just happened. But now that he's here, let's at least figure out what this means. I'm thinking that there's a land on Nophalophagus, my made-up alien planet, and it's called Donutsville. Village. That's one word. Donuts Village. This is where everything is made out of donuts and frosting. The longer you live there, the more you change into a donut form yourself. This is what Tom looks like after living in Donuts Village. I will say those round sprinkles or candy things, I don't know, whatever they're supposed to be, they were very prominently raised. So I kind of had to keep them. I guess I could have used like a thin layer of clay, smoothed it over to try to get rid of them. But of course I didn't really think of that until now. I don't hate them, but I do wish there were fewer of them. There's a lot, okay? It's looking a little pimply. Oh, and we've moved down to the yellow donut, and I'm adding some sprinkles. Actual verified sprinkles here, so let's hear it. Thank you, Self, for playing that song in editing. Now that all of that's done, it's time to add a nice protective varnish to the entire piece. Give it a good shine as well. And here it is. I love how this came out. It's so bright and fun and cute. You know, I really did like the donut monster originally, but when I realized that it's actually Tom, my beloved friend Tom, it just made me even more excited and connected to this piece, okay? I think it came out so good. I'm extremely happy about it, and I think we might need to visit Donuts Village once again at some point. This is what I found. Honestly, it's kind of junk. I don't even know. What is this?
This is a thing.
Why are there 3 price stickers on this? We get it. There's a price. Maybe this was like somebody's craft project at summer camp. Maybe somebody made this for their mom. Their mom kept it for like 10 years and then was like, you know that thing Jimmy made me? Let's be real, it's kind of ugly. I'm gonna just... And here I am, snatching it up from a thrift store. Hopefully Jimmy's not watching this video. If you are, good job, sweetie. I love it. Let's get started working on this little baby. All right, so I have here the thing that little Jimmy made for his mom at summer camp. That's very specific and probably completely untrue, but we're gonna go with it. It's got 3 red, white, and blue popsicles on it. They kind of look like they were painted with those little blow pens from the 90s. They're all pretty much exactly the same, so I'm bored. Oh, and I just got a splinter. Jimmy, sand your work. The frame is super rough. I think a beaver could make cuts smoother than this. What? You know, a beaver with those teeth and they cut. Okay, whatever. I mean, hey, I can appreciate the rustic style when it's done on purpose, but this is not on purpose. The edges are very misaligned. I'm gonna pick off the price stickers, all 3 of them. Oh, we got 2 that say 99 cents and 1 that says $7.99. Wait, which price did I pay? That's a $7 discrepancy. I guess it's time to paint this thing, and I'm thinking I want to make things a little more interesting. I want to add some 3-dimensionality, is that a word? By sculpting, and this is like my way to sketch, you know, just like using my hands in a very vague way. Good plan, I'm ready. Out with this and in with this. Hi, it's my very crappy clay. Honestly, this is becoming like my go-to clay. Even though it's like basically a step above Play-Doh, it's somehow working its way into my heart and soul. It's just so easy to use as a beginner clayist. It's been a good non-intimidating way for me to learn. I picked out 2 random colors. Gonna pop this open and just peel this off. Just go ahead, just peel this off. There we go. Oh, I just made a little skid mark.
Oopsies.
I'm bringing back my project. Well, actually, this is still Jimmy's project, but I'm about to make it mine. I'm gonna steal it. Uh-oh. No, I did pay for it. Either 99 cents or $7.99, not really sure. Okay, let's try that on for size. Oh no, that is not it. Obviously, this is wrong. Obviously. Ripping into this one, and I'll just mix these 2 together, which is mildly satisfying. I'm enjoying it. How about you? Now I'm shoving this nice little hunk of clay into the corner of the thing, and you must be wondering, what is this hunk? Believe it or not, this hunk, it's gonna evolve from a hunk to a blob. I'm bringing back the blobs. So I'm adding some limbs to my little blob. And if you think this blob looks familiar,
You're crazy.
clearly we've never met him before. The fact that you could confuse him with another blob is just disrespectful. I'm shocked. I'm offended. Now, this blob is going to be just chilling on the edge of the frame. He's got one leg kind of dangling over the edge, which is so cute. Oh, I love the little foot. And then he's got his hand on the popsicle. He's kind of possessive of it. He's saying, this is mine. It's mine. So that's blob number 1. Next, I'm pulling out some more clay. Ooh, here it is again. So wonderful. It's gooey color. Okay, good. Back over here, I'm creating another blob. But this one, it's just gonna have the face showing here. I'm trying to do this thing where I make it look like she's eaten her way through. So I built some nice full cheeks to make it look like she's got her mouth full. And then just like her little hands popping through as well. She's basically wearing the popsicle. And I'm gonna gonna keep going on this.
That's a good blend. That's really good.
And this one is so fixated on this popsicle that all we see is his backside. I need to form a nice little bottom for him. Nice little booty crack. There we go. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Let me just fix that up a little bit. So he's facing toward the popsicle, standing on the frame and just reaching up with both his hands. Why do those kind of look like ears? I'm fixing up his feet a little bit, and then, oops, his butt crack has gotten a little squished closed. There. Nice butt crack. Final little touches and boop, boop, boop. We're good. I just have to give this a couple days for the clay to dry. This takes so long to dry. You guys keep reminding me to put a filler inside of the clay to help it dry faster. I even saw Jackie doing this in our recent video, and I still forgot to do it. I still forgot. That's fine though. I'll just wait. The 3 days that it takes for this clay to dry, it's no big deal, okay? I'm patient. I can wait. I'm patient. I will wait. Finally, it's 3 days later and they're ready. Time to paint. I'm gonna start with this nice purple. It's a good purple. I don't know. I thought that this would be a good color for the background to kind of help all the details in the foreground pop. Even with just changing the background color, it's already looking more interesting. And might I say, this blob's body is just the cutest thing. I can't get over it. Look at that little body. Bringing in some pink now. I'm going with a nice bubblegum pink for the frame. I thought I could be lazy and just paint over all the roughness of the wood and it would just cover it up magically, but turns out it actually kind of accentuated it. Oh boy, that looks rough. Literally rough. So I ended up going in with some sandpaper to try to take care of that a little bit. Isn't that a lovely sound? The sound of ruined progress. I gave little Jimmy a hard time for his craftsmanship, misaligned edges and whatnot, but what would I have to do to fix it? Like use a saw and saw that? Oh no. No, thank you. I'm completely incompetent when it comes to tools. So I'm not even gonna attempt to fix it, but I am making a wonderfully big mess with the sanding, so that's good. And time for my mini vacuum to get some lunch. Yum, 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 yum.
Ew, I hate myself.
Okay, this is how we're looking now. Honestly, still pretty rough, but I'm okay with it. I'm hoping with all the little additions that I'm making to this, you won't even notice the frame. I'm gonna distract people with my blobs.
Why are you looking at me?
Now, not gonna lie, my rainbow instincts were pushing. They were pushing hard. I felt like this was a great opportunity to do a rainbow scheme. Like, just imagine this frame with a beautiful, blendy rainbow gradient. But we gotta shake things up sometimes. So I'm going for a more limited color palette with this one. I chose this beautiful light teal for this blob, then a nice lavender for this very hungry little girl, and then a wonderful yellow orange for my little booty boy over here. Now onto the painting of these popsicles. I'm gonna make each one of them different to give them a little bit more variety than before. I just really like the idea of giving each of these popsicles their own unique colors and details to make this a little more fun and interesting to look at. I also added some of the little puddles of ice cream, frosting, popsicle, whatever the heck, on the blobs themselves. They're like interacting, they're really getting to know each other. Now this blob, I feel like he's kind of the standout here. Okay, he's the main character. So I think it's only right that we go ahead and name him Jimmy. And you can see just how important this piece is to him. It's a very emotional attachment. This one in the center is probably my least favorite. That's right, I like his butt better than your face. I still really like the idea of the blob eating its way through the popsicle, but I feel like I could have done something to make it look a little bit more convincing. Like it kind of looks like you chopped off the face of a blob and glued it on a popsicle. Drawing in the face with the tongue, it does help to show what I was trying to do here. And I do like the nice full cheeks. Speaking of full cheeks, since there's no face to paint on this blob, I decided to really give some love and attention to that little booty. And you know how much I love a good set of rosy cheeks. Now bringing in some details on the popsicles to really give them a more cutesy and appetizing look, which of course involves some dear little sprinkles. So before I get verbally murdered in the comment section, let me be sure to play the sprinkle song. You guys really don't like when I skip it. Finally, I'm adding some juicy highlights to finish off the design, signing my signature, and applying a nice coat of matte varnish. I usually go glossy with my varnish, but I don't know, I was feeling more matte for this one. Jimmy told me to. Oh no, that's kind of scary. Jimmy's alive. Jimmy is speaking to me. So here's the finished piece. This was the before, and it's transformed into this. I actually like this way more than I thought I would. I mean, let's be honest, Jimmy is pulling most of the weight here. He's like everything, but I do like the overall look of this. I really like the color scheme, and it's definitely more interesting than it was before. It'll look really cute in my art room just as a little display piece. Here's my lovely bubblegum machine. It looks, just like every other bubblegum machine you've seen ever. Pretty simple. The big bowl holds all the bubblegum, you put a coin in, turn the knob, and out plops the gum. I really don't have to explain this, do I? It did cost $6.99 at Goodwill, but I did get an abundance of dead skin cells free.
Yeah.
That's great. So let's get to work. Oh, let me just get this thing situated. He's gonna be an unruly one. Also, he needs a bath. So I'm gonna start off by wiping this whole thing down, removing the price stickers. I wanna be nice and thorough with this, making sure to clean out every little crack and crevice, especially in the gum hole. Not bum hole, gum hole. Is this the first time you've ever wiped up there? Cause boy, you got a dirty gum hole. I found a little surprise over here. I'm hoping that that's old bubble gum. It looks suspiciously like a booger. It's fine, it's gone now. And oh look, price sticker number 2. Of course. Gooey price stickers should be illegal.
Nobody likes you.
Now I'm going to start disassembling this. You can see my reflection in the glass. Oh, that's distracting. I'm removing the top with this super specialized tool. Very rare. Don't ask about it. You wouldn't understand. Take that off. Oh, where are you going? Start sliding things apart. Ooh, I got a discount. I guess this thing only cost me $6.98. So, let's see what's in here. Oh, cobwebs. Vacuum those out. I don't want to keep those. That just looked like a screeching sound. I'll take that out and finish cleaning up the rest of the individual components. And finally, everything is nice and ready to move into the next phase. I wasn't sure exactly how to best prep this, but I dug up this Brillo pad just to, remove the top coating and scuff up the old paint a little bit so that my paint will adhere properly. And it seems to be doing something. And then, oh, that comes off. Okay, now I've got to wipe all this down again because, well, look at all that dust. So you can see a lot of the gloss finish has been removed. That's when you know it's done, I guess. I don't know. I really shouldn't be teaching this. Next, I'm going to apply some acrylic gesso.
My favorite.
How do I still have so much left in this container when I use this all the time?
It's the gesso that never ends.
Here we go with that. Just applying a nice coat of gesso over the entire body, including his little hat. And aha, yes, prep work done. He's nice and preppy. Finally, it's time to get into painting. Now, even though the base of this is the largest area, I'm not going to be doing anything super detailed here. Originally, I thought that this was the most valuable real estate. This was where I was gonna do the meat of the artwork. But then I noticed the many grooves and ridges all around. That makes it pretty tricky to figure out how to work out what to do and where to do it. You know what I mean? It's just not an easy surface to paint on, so I decided to just go for something really simple on the base, and we'll do something more exciting elsewhere. Don't you worry, my dear, just stay with me. For now, I'm just painting a nice arrangement of colors in no particular order. And once I've built up a solid, even coverage all the way around, I'm going to start working on blending the colors together, which was very time consuming as usual, going back and forth and over with very thin layers of paint until I've created a smooth blend. And that's just one section.
Oh my gosh.
So continue moving along section by section. This took forever, and the little ridges, kind of annoying to work with. It just made it that much trickier to get an even blend. Oh, and look at that.
Hello?
I'm gonna paint the top hat to match, creating the same randomly colorful gradient. Oh, the background color changed. That was jarring. Unfortunately, that will continue to happen throughout this video because for whatever reason, I was really struggling to keep track of which background color I was supposed to be using for this video. I'm sorry. Why am I kind of scared of that hole? You just never know what's in there. So I've got both of my pieces painted. All that's left to do is varnish them. Okay, no more sound effects.
Thank you.
And this varnish will just help keep my paint strong and healthy, looking glossy. Now I'm gonna set those aside and switch gears and backgrounds again. Focusing on the bowl now. I don't know what's going on in there. I think I'm being a fish. I don't think I need to apologize for my behavior at this point. I think we're all used to it. I'm actually going to decorate this. First, I need some paper. I'm folding it down and cutting it up to create a bunch of smaller pieces of paper, and I'm gonna do a little drawing. Oh, hey, how you doing? Okay, so I'm gonna be drawing some of my different characters that I've created in the past, starting with the scared chicken here. And since they're gonna be on a bubblegum machine, I'm gonna make each of them interacting with a piece of bubblegum in some way that kind of fits who they are as people.
What?
They're not people. So the scared chicken is being lifted into the air by the bubble, which of course scares him. Moving on to the next character.
It's Pumpy the Pumpkin.
He's a chow puppy who's normally in a pumpkin, but for today, I've drawn him inside of a big bubble.
You see? That's clever.
No.
Oh, and here's another old pin design. Why is it so far away? This is my green monster pin. Is he nameless? His name's Nelson. It's been Nelson the whole time, you just didn't know it. I always thought he looked a little bit nervous and guilty. He kind of looks like he just farted.
Excuse me.
So I drew him farting out the bubble gum. You don't want to pop that bubble. What? What's that? How old am I? Oh, I'm 26. What's your point? Next, I have my ice s'more nut cat. That's a terrible name. How about Lucy? I just feel like naming people today. Again, it's not a person. And oh, look, she's doing something normal. She's just blowing a bubble with the bubble gum like you're supposed to do. Yay for
Susie.
Nope, it's Lucy. Wow. Oh, now we have one of my favorites, the bored sloth. How about Bert? I don't know, I'm getting name fatigue now. He's got this bored kind of negative attitude all the time, everywhere he goes. He's not very much fun at parties, don't invite him. So I drew him holding a chewed up piece of gum. Oh, that's good. And finally,
Oh, hey, it's Rosie.
you may notice I didn't include Pickle, Derp, Georgie, and some of the other characters that I tend to draw a lot of. I just wanted to use some characters of mine that aren't used as often. Okay, so I have all my sketches done. Now what I'm gonna do is try to utilize the transparent nature of our substrate.
I don't get it.
In other words, me wants to trace, which is going to be kind of weird because the paper doesn't really fit nicely, but I'm just gonna tape these onto the inside, and this should at least help me figure out how to get nice even spacing between the characters, make sure that everyone's in the right place, because I'm gonna leave the background clean so that you can still see the bubblegum. There's really not gonna be much room for mistakes here. My weapon of choice is Posca paint pens, and I just went ahead and started tracing over my sketches, which was not that fun and kind of disorienting because there's a gap between the paper and the glass, so anytime I make even a slight movement of the bowl, the lines would all shift and then I'd get all dizzy. But I think this method did make things a little bit easier. Moving on to the next guy, I only had to deal with the dizzy tracing while getting this first layer down. Then I'm good to go. We can get rid of the training wheels, just get that out of there. And I'm just continuing on filling in the rest of the characters. At this point, I was slightly nervous because they're all looking pretty ugly, honestly, but I know better than to give up after the first coat. Almost every painting has the ugly duckling syndrome, okay? Also, I'm not entirely sure of what kind of paint I should have been using on this. I mean, I do have glass paint that I used that one time, but I really really hated it. When in doubt,
Posca paint pens.
clearly the coverage is a little bit shaky here, so I don't know that Poscas are really meant to be used on glass. They are today. So I've got my first layer on there looking like trash. We all can't be winners. And I realized quickly that while trying to apply the second layer, I was scratching off the first layer. Oh no. I've got to make this work somehow. Maybe I can seal the paint in and then try to do the second layer. So I applied some clear varnish over top of the paint. I think a spray clear coat probably would have been a better option because you can slightly see the brush strokes of the varnish over the glass. Maybe spray would have given us a smoother finish, but did I think of that in the moment? No, of course not. I was in panic mode, trying to quickly solve a problem, and this is what I did. Once the varnish was completely dry, I'm going to go for layer 2. Fortunately, my sloppy solution did work, so I was able to go over everything with no problem this time, and I'm feeling much better now because my little angels are looking so much nicer, getting cleaned and fixed up. Background change again. So unprofessional. I've drawn 6 different characters on here, and each of them has a different color of bubblegum, creating the full rainbow of bubblegum, which ties into the rainbow base and top. Okay, that's a concept right there. So this is going to be a very colorful object right here. I'm just preparing you for that now. When it's all put together, it's going to be intense. Brace yourself. Now that the second layer is done, all that's left to do is add the details and do the outlining. I don't want to go too crazy with detailing on here. I definitely don't want to do any shading. I want to keep it really clean, simple, very cartoony, because I know that these are going to be over top of a very busy background with all that bubblegum in there. Also, I definitely want to give them all a very strong, thick black outline so that they're sure to pop out and you can see them in front of all that bubblegum. Speaking of pop, I didn't draw any of them popping a bubble. That would have been cute. Oh well. Also, I will say I did spend quite a bit of time off camera fixing these up further. Believe it or not, it was kind of awkward trying to draw on a round glass bowl while filming and trying to stay in the frame the whole time. I was not doing my best work here, and I had quite a few mistakes to fix later on. Luckily, it pretty much all turned out well in the end. I'm gonna add one last coat of varnish over top to keep all the paint protected. And here we go. It's the big family gathering. Everyone come on in, and also all this junk. I'm just gonna start working on putting everything back together into one piece. And here it is. All we're missing is the bubble gum. And oh, I got bubble gum. Way too much bubble gum. So I ordered 1 bag of gum online, and I realized, ooh, that's not even close to enough to fill the machine. So then I overcorrected by ordering 7 more bags. What was I thinking? So yes, I've pretty much got bubble gum for years now. Did you count how many bags of gum it holds? Yeah, 2.5, which means I still have 5.5 bags of bubble gum laying around. Yay. Now we can finally test this baby. I put a penny in there since that's what I found inside the machine earlier, so I assumed that's what we're supposed to use. Oh, and look at that, 2 for 1 cent. That's very generous. Let me try a quarter and see what happens. Oh, 2. Okay, well that's bogus. Do you even have to use money at all in this thing? 3? So you get more for free than you get when you pay for them? Clearly this machine is totally whack, but at least it does dispense bubblegum. This thing definitely got a makeover. The new version fits my aesthetic much better, and I really love how much personality all the characters add to it. Originally, I wasn't even planning on painting on the glass part of it, but I'm super glad that I did because I think it really makes it unique. It does minorly bother me how you can see the red on the inside, but I didn't want to paint that part because that's where the bubblegum is going to drop. I didn't want anything chipping in there, so I just left it. Regardless, I think it's super cute. I just love the design of it. So the suitcase. As I mentioned, it's pretty much filthy. Not sure what year this is from. The listing just said old. It's currently an orangey kind of brown color. Pretty neutral and classic. We'll fix that. The inside is a bright red with some little creepies. I don't know what that is exactly, so I'll assume that it's gross. I'm very tentatively checking out all the little side pockets. Sorry, the suitcase closed on me. It comes with this nifty little pouch with the plastic liner that's like ripped and rotting. Gross. What you can't appreciate here is the fantastic odor. It's not like I'm gonna be using this regularly. It's most likely gonna be just for decoration. Oh no, it's another decorative suitcase. But it would still be nice not to have to smell death every time I get near it. A friend of mine told me I should try watered down alcohol to get rid of the smell, so I gave a few sprays of that and left it out in the sun. Oh, yeah, that's the sun. Look at it. And as soon as that dried up, I came back and no, this isn't a filter. It was just extremely humid out. Phase 2 of desmellification. I'm just gonna pour a buttload of baking soda over it. Oh my gosh, the fog. You can't even see what's happening. You're supposed to leave the baking soda in there for 24 hours, so I left it out for a couple hours. Chop chop. Let's get unsmelly quick so that I can get to the fun part. Brushed all of that baking soda off. It was actually a huge pain in the butt. Baking soda in all the crevices. But good news, the smell, it was almost completely gone. I know it wasn't bothering you in the first place, but trust me, this is big. Speaking of big, now is where I realized that the suitcase is too big for my filming setup.
Oh boy.
Wonderful. For the outside, I'm just wiping this down with some all-purpose cleaner, and the paper towel doesn't lie. This was filthy. Trying to get into those crevices, because that's where the true terror lives. You can see it's just like years of built up grime developed into a disgusting kind of fur. Where's my hand sanitizer? I'm getting flashbacks. Oh, that smells so good. Vanilla berry sorbet. Now I'm taking some metal cleaner. What happened in there? An earthquake? And I'm trying to clean up the metal. I'm making an effort, okay? The back hinges in particular, they're just totally scratched to pieces. Rusted? Is that what that is? Is that rust? After working on this for a while, I kind of realized
That's hard, okay?
I just did not care about it enough, so I'm just gonna do the bare minimum and let it go. Okay, so now the thing is cleaned. Good. I'm grabbing my gesso. This makes my massive container of gesso look
Tiny.
I'm using my big brush today, which doesn't actually get used except for thumbnails. Here we go, painting on the gesso. I think this may be the largest thing I've ever painted on. There was something fun about making these massive brush strokes. In case you didn't know, gesso is just used basically as a primer just to help the paint stick better and prevent us from having to apply a million coats of paint. It's a little bit of a mystery to me, but I use it. I'm going to be painting every inch of this suitcase, so I had to gesso every inch of this suitcase. Here I am creeping down the sides and getting into every miserable cranny. And you see that? You see how I'm getting paint all over the metal? All of that needs to be cleaned up eventually. Just look at this area around the handle. What a freaking mess. The cleanup was just a disaster. I'm gonna do you a favor and edit out most of that because trust me, nobody wants to relive all of that, and especially not me. I did discover a straight up hole. Just a hole. This is what $15 gets you nowadays. No, I'm just kidding. $15 is extremely cheap for a piece of luggage. Time to flip it over.
Oh boy.
Wow, are you all right there?
That means yes.
Here's where I decided to turn gessoing into this experience.
Fingers down my spine. Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers down my spine?
I'm done with gessoing now. Can we move on? So far, this video has been a whole bunch of me complaining and whining, but that's because, you know what I'm here for? I'm here for the creativity. And this, not really feeding my creativity much. But oh, this big boy needed so much prep work before we could even sniff a Posca pen. Yep, that was a weird way of putting it. I think I'm talking to my own memes now. Oh, look at that, right over the brand. And the suitcase has been completely gessoed. So it gets a little bit more exciting now. First, I have to scrape out this dried varnish.
That sounds exciting.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be painting this whole suitcase one base color, and then I'll add the details on top. So we need a lot of paint.
Oh, look at that.
All right, put that away. And I'm adding some red and a touch of blue to create a kind of muted bubblegum pink. That's a little too muted. Throw some magenta in there. Come on. wake up, and mix that in. I was very pleased with how well the paint stuck to this surface. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be kind of chipping and peeling as I bumbled around with this. It does have like a nice kind of almost canvas-like texture to it, so that helps. And maybe we can give the gesso some credit as well. Time for the other side. Here comes a wave. Now we're going green, which may seem like a slightly odd choice. It'll make a little bit more sense later when you see what I paint on the front of the suitcase. It looks like paint is shooting out of my finger. It's like Spider-Man, but with paint. No. This is the color that I'm looking for. Swim in that for a second. This green is going to go on the side panel like the ice cream in an ice cream sandwich. Side note that you definitely don't care about, the color correcting that was necessary for this footage was awful. This was what the raw footage looked like. Ew. I always have to color correct my footage, but I swear every piece of this footage needed severe color correcting. Anyway, you're bored.
Yeah, I am.
Here's where we are now, and I'm gonna take this a step further. I'm taping off these seams. I wanted to paint them a different color without making a mess. I'm going with a dark greenish turquoise. I kind of regret taping this off though, because I relied really heavily on the tape, and the tape honestly didn't do that great of a job. I mean, it looks like it would, right? Yeah, no. I also painted the handle in this color, and I let that dry. Hi there. Time to pull off the tape. A small bit of fun in a way, but also at the same time, truly devastating as I watched the mess underneath being revealed. You may think it's dramatic to call this and that a devastating mess. All of these little areas add up. The touch-ups on this were like nothing I've ever experienced. So many touch-ups.
Oh my gosh.
And at last, we can leave all of that behind and get into the actual fun part, you know, this. To plan this out, I'm actually getting out my iPad. Oh, just doing the facial recognition there. That looks dumb. And I'm going into the app Procreate, and I'm just inserting a picture. Oh, don't look at my camera roll. You'll see all my secret life of just wildness. I'm grabbing this picture of the suitcase that I took before I painted it, and whoop! This iPad is actually brand new. I just got it. I've never had an iPad in my life, but I've been dying to try this app for years, and I've been basically obsessed with it for the past couple weeks. I've already done like 8 or so drawings. Here's a look at my gallery, except not really, because I've been posting them one by one on Instagram, so if you want to see them, you'll have to go there. I will explain in detail the whole backstory of this image, but for now, I'm gonna move into the real thing. So I was just using my digital sketch kind of as a reference. Fun fact, I kind of hate myself every time I say fun fact, but I just keep on saying it.
Fun fact!
I was standing up for the majority of this process because the surface of the suitcase was up so high, I couldn't see the top of it very well while I was sitting, so I had to stand up so that I could like really get a better view over top of it. Even still, my perspective was really warped, so I actually took it to the floor to try to fix up the sketch the best I could. I'm finally doing what I wanted to do here. This is what I was looking forward to. This is what I was thinking about when I initially fell in love with that old suitcase. I had no clue that just cleaning it up and painting the rest of the suitcase was gonna take so long and be so intensive of a process. I spent 2 days just getting to this point, but now I was really excited about it and really enjoying this. It may look really simple and like I just threw it together, but I thought about this idea for months before coming up with this design. Initially, I wanted to do a big collection of fat desserts, you know? There would be glossy drips and sprinkles and juicy highlights and but I kind of wanted to do something with some of my original characters, and that's when this idea was born, because it was a way to include desserts and my characters. So if you don't recognize these characters, I designed all of them as Squishies originally. On this side, we have Shelly and Eustace, who are dessert-themed cats, and they have a complicated relationship. And then over here we have Pickle and Cousin Derp, who are both dinosaurs, and they are cousins. It's story time! So in this scene, there's an occasion for costumes. Maybe it's a costume party that they've all been invited to. You know, it's probably this little dork. He's having a costume party at his house so that he can feel more normal about never taking that freaking bunny costume off off. That's between him and his therapist. So these four have decided as a group, let's all dress up as each other. So Shelly is wearing a pickle costume and Eustace is wearing a derp costume, and that's all good. But then here's where things go wrong. I guess. What? I don't get it. Cousin Derp was in charge of securing costumes for himself and Pickle. So basically, Derp told Pickle that all they have to do is put ice cream and frosting on top of their heads, since Eustace and Shelly are cupcake and ice cream themed, and that's gonna be their costume. Clearly, he's just hungry. I will fix that later, don't worry. He's only thinking about food because that's what Cousin Derp does. But Pickle is too naive, so he just goes along with it. Wow, have I put too much thought into this? I was putting this whole narrative together in my head while I was painting. I was painting for a long time, okay? Anyway, this is the moment where they all come together and Shelly sees what they've done and she's just not happy about it. I mean, she stayed up all night hand stitching these custom costumes, and then she walks in to find Derp and Pickle swimming in desserts, and she's like, wow, I'm surrounded by idiots. And then Pickle looks up at Derp and finally puts two and two together. This is the face of someone who's been bamboozled. Meanwhile, Cousin Derp is just having a blast, probably already consumed several quarts of ice cream, and Eustace, well, he's just being creepy as usual. So that's the story. Is it embarrassing to me how in-depth I've worked this story out? Yes, it is a little bit, a little bit, but there it is, and I've put it out there, so I hope you enjoyed it. I fussed over this painting a lot off camera because I knew I already had so much footage to edit through, so I didn't record everything, but this is where I am finally finished, and I just applied a nice glaze over the entire thing to protect my design, and here it is. Wow. This was the largest project I've done in a long time. This took absolutely forever. Typical disclaimer, I know that it's not perfect, but I am going to focus on the positive here because overall, I'm really happy with it. I put my heart and soul into this one, okay? And it just makes me really happy to see it finally finished and see how it came together. I'm really excited to display this. Right, so here's the thing. Check it out, all the sides. Yes. And here we are at Play School. School spelled incorrectly. I know it's on purpose. It's supposed to be cute or whatever, but
Is education a joke to you?
it does have the little mail slot here and then these shape cutouts. And inside, I found a little surprise. It's blocks. Hang on, they're stuck. This one says 5 cents. And this one says
Ho.
It's one of those baby shaped sorter things. Mini-Me has one of these, or maybe two, I don't know. This is like the old crusty version, literally crusty. There are crumbs coming out of it. Well, personally, I don't think I'm in need of a shape sorter. I learned my shapes a long time ago. Been almost 2 years. I don't think I'll need these blocks anymore. Thank you, bye. Grabbing my mask, I'm gonna get to sanding. I was using extra fine sandpaper. I think if I really wanted to do this right, I would have to use coarser sandpaper, really tear it up, and then work my way up to fine sandpaper to smooth it out. But, let's be real. I'm in this for the painting. Also, that would be a hazard. My squishy shelf is behind me. I don't want to get my squishies dusty. Minimum, it did remove the top layer of Thrift Store sludge. And oh, look,
She's bleeding.
wipe the dust off real quick, and then plopping out my silicone mat, I finally got a proper surface.
To do clay things.
So to be a sculptor, you want to start by taking a nice handful of cream cheese, and then dip into the water. Yeah, just work that in real mushy. I'm beginning to form a head, and then a body, and then I'm gonna stick those together to make this little being. Everyone say, hi, being. Hi, being. Looks like one of those peg dolls if they gained a few pounds. And then I'm adding a very attractive little hump on top of the head. Everyone wants one of those. And adding a little trim piece around because, hey, it's a beanie and it's actually so cute. Then I'm adding some little bunny ears, and if you don't recognize who this is at this point, shame. I'm just kidding. Nobody's gonna recognize this. Does anyone remember those bunnies I made a while ago? You know the ones. I wanted to customize my laptop. I designed a scene of 6 different bunnies: Millie, Billy, Tilly, Willy, Lemon, and Lime, painting a rainbow and falling in love. Yeah, that. I'm thinking it's about time they come back for a visit. So this is Willie, and in typical fashion, he's got his arms in the air, celebrating
life,
I guess. And I'm gonna add him into this little shape hole and just work on smoothing all of that up. Through that process, his arms started to droop a little bit. You can see by this diagram here, he's supposed to look like this. Instead, we got this. For some reason, I panicked for a second and thought that fixing this was an impossible challenge that I would never accomplish, but scooched his arm up a little bit and that fixed it. So I almost forgot to add his little pom-pom on top of the beanie, and then adding a little, oh, that wasn't straight at all. Add a little more detail to his beanie, and voila. Moving down, who would like to live in here? To answer that question, I'm back for more cream cheese.
I'm hungry today.
Again, with the head and the body, making some little ears, and this bunny is going to have one paw up under her chin and the other just hanging down, because this is the much more subdued Millie, and she's going to be popping out right on the front of the mailbox, which you can't really see from this angle. Thank you, unqualified camera person. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. The final bunny I'm making is Billy, and he's going to be added to the back of the mailbox in the little triangle spot. Problem is, Billy doesn't want to squeeze into a triangle. I could not get the clay to stick properly. All that excitement that I had for this project was fading a little bit, and I was wondering if it was all going to fall apart and I was going to be left crying. But after about 20 minutes of struggle, all the bunnies are stuck for now. Miraculously, a couple days later, they're still holding strong. So now is the time for gesso. Applying a nice 2 coats of gesso over the entire thing. Ugh, the background in these shots is so dark and ugly and ugh. This item was really tricky to film because it's so tall. It doesn't really fit in my normal filming setup. Okay, we gessoed. Now, if you're good with
the numbers,
you may have noticed that I only sculpted 3 bunnies when in fact there are 6. I did feel like 6 bunny sculptures was a little much, and I don't want to do that. Not today. Also, I'm out of holes. So I decided to do half and half. Half sculpture, half flat painting. And finally, we are ready for paint. I'm still in the process of using up my remaining mural paint, which is perfect because the bunnies and I like to use the same exact color scheme for rainbow murals. During this project, I learned a little bit more about these bunnies. And when I say learned, I mean I made a bunch of crap up while I was painting them. They are called the worker bunnies. Like worker bees, but worker bunnies. And they are a team of 6, each responsible for a different color of the rainbow. This we already know. The worker bunnies spend all of their time going around painting old, dilapidated objects and buildings. They see a dirty wall, they paint it rainbow. A boring building, rainbow. A poopy bathroom stall, rainbow. Is it always a rainbow? Yes, they're bunnies. They don't really have the brain capacity to travel outside of that one idea. What does that say about me? This is their life's mission, to bring joy and color to the world. It's really beautiful. Of course, this is also considered vandalism and it's technically illegal. So they have gotten a few fines. Billy caught a charge once, but let's just leave that out of the story, okay? This is one of their legal projects. Nobody's going to jail this time. Now, each of the bunnies are different and unique colors, so I had to take great care and do lots of paint farting to methodically create each of their colors. This took a long time. This was much easier digitally. And we start with Millie. Now, Millie, if you remember, is a sort of meek bunny, sweet and gentle, never saying a mean word. She's the quiet one, but also gets the most work done because she doesn't spend as much time running her mouth and yapping. I'm looking at you, Willie. Millie is responsible for the pink of the rainbow, hence the pink paint splattered all around her. Mess of paint. Their life's mission may be painting, but nobody said they were any good at it. And this is actually the first time I've designed Millie's whole face. In the original version, she's kind of facing away. I decided
She has freckles.
yes, I'm happy with that choice. I did add some gentle shading to the paint, some little highlights. I don't want to go too crazy because this is already, 3-dimensional as it is, and I want to be able to somewhat match the flat paintings. Speaking of flat paintings, paintings. Here's the first one. It's Tilly, our purple girl. The main thing about Tilly is she's always upside down, okay? Always. If you ever see her right side up, run, because that must mean that the whole world is about to collapse on top of you. We don't know too much about Tilly because she doesn't communicate very well. She's dumb. I don't know if it's all the hanging upside down, if it's slowly killing brain cells. There's just not that much going on up there, but she is very cute and she's a part of the team and she does help. I did have a little dilemma painting this one because Tilly's purple paint is overlapping the purple stripe of the rainbow. I don't want them to be the exact same color because then you won't be able to really see what's going on here. So I decided that the paint splatter would be a lighter purple since paint does tend to be lighter when it's wet. And oh, hold on. Did I just turn Tilly right side up? No, I just turned us upside down. Tilly's painting was the most difficult. I struggled to capture that original design. I feel like this version is a slightly less cute Tilly. Tilly minus some brain cells. Several 100,000. Still cute though. All the way up, time to paint Willy. I thought it was perfect to stick Willy right on the top because he is kind of the leader of the worker bunnies. He also happens to do the least amount of actual work because he spends more time talking than working, but he's still a critical part of the team. He keeps morale up, and that's important. Moving on to the back here, I'm painting the remaining three, Billy, Lime, and Lemon. You'll notice Lemon and Lime are the only bunnies without rhyming names. They are part of the worker bunnies team, but they are also kind of on a planet of their own. They're falling in love. They're not really aware of anybody else. Now, the last time we saw the worker bunnies, Billy was getting painted on by Lemon, but this time, Billy fights back. He is just dumping that paint all over Lemon. Actually, though, it's just an accident. Billy doesn't even know what he's doing. He's far too terrified for his own safety right now because he's, dangling out of this hole. Lemon doesn't really care that much at all. She's still too busy in her new romance with that ladies' man, Lime. You will notice something missing from the bunnies. Their paintbrushes. Well, they ditched those, okay? They ditched them a long time ago. Paintbrushes, they get crusty, too much of a hassle. These bunnies, they don't need them. They just go in with their paws. It's really just that they've graduated from paintbrushes. And also that I didn't want to paint paintbrushes. All right, so front and back are basically done. Whew, that was a process. For the sides, I went real simple. All the bunnies are accounted for, so I'm just gonna go for a solid color and add a few little paint splatters. Super simple, but also ended up taking forever because this does wrap around the sides and I had to keep touching things up. On the other side, I'm going for purple, adding a couple more paint splatters. Geez, these bunnies are messy. You call yourselves professionals. Finally, I decided to add a little drippiness to the rainbow stripes because clearly bunny dexterity is not all that. They're trying, they really are, but the best they can accomplish is a big, drippy, goopy mess. The last step, I'm going to apply some nice glossy varnish over the whole thing to protect my design. And here is the before and after. This is what the bunnies have done to the place. I honestly love how this came out so much. This was a big one. It was actually really time consuming because it is really large and there's sculpting involved. There's a lot of painting as well. So this just seemed to go on and on and on. Took me forever. I'm pleasantly surprised how well the 3D and 2D elements really do go together. And I do actually plan to use it. I want to use this to store some of my favorite letters and messages sent from my viewers that I've saved over the years. It is still fully functional, so you can get them out through here. Still looks a little dirty in there. Ugh, don't go in there. Anyway, I'd say a successful thrift store makeover. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!